Guys, ever wonder how many watts it takes to completely destroy your cassette? So picture this, it's Friday morning, you've got up early to do a Zwift race, you've jumped into category B, it's Champions, Race of Champions, Zwift Monthly. You had a tear up on the Monday night and you're gonna give it another go on Friday. There's three little rollers in the Richmond course, and on the second roller, you go to hammer the watts to try and stay with the front group, and you just start getting like no traction. Pedals are just turning. I'm hearing a really quite horrible sound of metal crunching, which you never want to hear on your bike. So I stopped pedaling straight away. Here is a clip of what happened. So if like one of the spokes on the rear cassette is just like come completely kaput. That's annoying. My rear cassette is fucked. So my first reaction was that I might have just dropped a chain and I was going to kind of try and jump off the bike and put it back on and then carry on with the race. But I soon kind of realized when I looked down and back that something was a little bit more off. I'm going to show you what's happened to my cassette now. So ultimately this is the cassette that I pulled. This is the cassette I pulled off the bike. There might be a few spaces missing because I threw the thing straight in the bin after I'd done it. And what has happened is, if I take it apart, you will see, we're going to ditch the first few because we don't need those, but I'll show you how it worked in a minute. What you will see here is this ring normally sits on the cassette and is bolted into here. Something roughly like that. And then what has happened is that the bolts have sheared, and not only have the bolts sheared, but you might be able to see that that's completely cracked. So at some stage I put so much force, or there's been enough force, I don't want to say I put so much force, there's been enough force to go through this cassette to shear the bolts off, and then ultimately I'll show you what ended up happening. So I will show you effectively what was happening was the cog on the cassette had sheared off completely, and obviously it's still on the hub. So this cog on the cassette had come off and was basically stuck in between two cogs that were still mounted and was just kind of like free spinning loose on the rear hub, which was basically just grinding, I guess, on the rear hub somehow. So that was ultimately what ended up happening. And I've never really seen someone or heard about someone shredding a cassette to the point where it's cracked and then the cog has come off of it, and the bolts that were, you can see where the bolts that were holding it together have all been sheared off. Anyway, it was a pretty happy ending because I took the cassette that was on my rear wheel of my actual bike on my hub, pulled that off, whacked that onto my turbo, this is my turbo cassette, and jumped into the next race, and then I eventually picked up a second place. But I just thought I'd share that with you because this, I mean, I don't think cassettes should be cracking like that. That's crazy, huh? Anyway, guys, cassette gate over and done with. That's going in the bin now, and we're gonna get a new one. Guys, see you in a race again soon.